right. Hey, everybody. Spidey Librarian here, and welcome to episode 2 of the Spidey Librarian Action Hour. Looks like, okay, you guys might not have heard any sound, so you might have seen me just dancing to no music there, so I apologize for that, but, sometimes we have technical problems, and I was actually working right up until the last second to get ready for the show. So this is just how life is going to be for me for for the next probably few episodes. But hey, thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. And welcome to the Spidey Librarian Action Hour, a live show where I, a reference librarian and pop culture geek, aim to entertain and educate you with with segments and tidbits from the world of librarianship, technology, video games, superheroes, movies, and much, much more. You thought it was just copyrighted or something? Actually, hail to the geeks. Interesting thing. I chose that entire playlist. I basically picked about 30 minutes worth of music, and that playlist is entirely copyright free. That playlist is from the YouTube, basically the YouTube library of music that I'm able to choose from. And I just went through looking for some stuff that I just thought sounded good, and then just used that. And I tried to make about 30 minutes of music with it. And yeah, that's basically what we did. So, oh, excuse me. So I just hit the record button because I need to remember to start doing that at the top of the hour. And what I'm basically going to do is I'm gonna try something a little bit new. I'm just gonna let the record button just go for the entire stream, and then I'll try to break up the segments when I try to make them into videos and things like that. So, anyways, thank you guys who are joining me tonight for the live portion of the episode. I really do appreciate the support. Just make some noise in the chat for yourself because you guys are awesome and you know it. And as Hail to the Geeks just said, hell yeah. So, one of the best ways that you can continue to show support for what I do is to simply thwip on the like button. It just tells me that you're enjoying this kind of content and that you like what I'm doing and that you would like to see more of it. So if you do enjoy it, give it a like, and if you haven't already, go ahead and give it a subscribe. Always appreciate that. And just try to tell your friends about it. If you think that I'm their flavor of geek, that would be awesome. Maybe people would like to see me actually try to make a live show. And so anyways, let's see. Oh, right. Also, I want to put this call out to everyone. If you have any requests for future DLC topics or even pop culture deep dive topics, go ahead and just shoot them at me. You can either put them in the chat. You can drop a comment on any of my YouTube videos, or maybe even the live stream for this one whenever it gets on the channel. If you're in my Discord, you can also go there. I have a video feedback section. So if you have ideas, like, you can be like, hey, could you do a segment on like how to do this? Or could you do a segment on this show or this video game or something? I'm totally open to those. I definitely want to continue to incorporate viewer feedback into my show. So hopefully you guys can do that. And Wolf just said there's no more reverse camera angle. You are correct, sir. I am trying really hard to get myself into a headspace where I'm not relying on looking at the live feed as I go. I mean, I still have it up, but I'm trying to train myself not to look at it and to look more at the camera, so that way I just don't get confused. Because it's when I'm looking at the camera that I get confused. Like I'm doing it right now, or it's not the camera. When I'm looking at the feed, I'm doing one thing, but I'm, from where I'm sitting, I'm not using the mirrored hand, so it's really confusing to me. So I'm trying to get there. I know I need to get there if I'm going to be a content creator on YouTube. So this is me trying. So All right, now let's see. Tonight's DLC is going to be how to listen to audiobooks for free at your local library. You're going to want to get a library card if you don't already have one, because you will need one, and a nice little app called Libby. After that, we're going to do the pop culture news roundup, where I talk about the news that piqued my interest this week, and there's quite a bit of it coming from Nintendo this week. So, which they had a bit last week too, and they're just kind of like in there lately. But there are a couple of other things that I definitely want to talk about, and that you'll probably want to see. After that, we're going to do the pop culture deep dive segment, where I basically am going to talk about collecting comics tonight, and I'm going to show you guys not only some of the crown jewels of my collection. It won't be all of them, but it's a few of them. I'm also going to show you a couple of recent acquisitions that I got that just made me like, yes. So I hope you stick around for that. I think that'll be a lot of fun. And then finally, we're going to get to the viewer Q&A segment. And as you guys know, that one is entirely in your hands. So you guys can ask me any question that you want. I don't guarantee you that I will answer it. Depends on the topic. But, as long as it's done in good faith, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to try to give it the reference library treatment if it requires it. And otherwise, yeah, just hit me up with, whatever else you'd like to know. Things about me, things about certain topics, what my opinions are. I don't care. Do whatever you want. Last week, Hail to the Geeks asked me about Neapolitan ice cream sandwiches. So that's why, if you look at the thumbnail for this episode, you can actually see in the viewer Q&A section, you can see a Neapolitan ice cream sandwich. So I'm going to be trying to incorporate things like that into future thumbnails. So if you guys are interested in having that happen, ask me a question. We'll see what we can do with it. All right? Okay. So, with all that said, go ahead and get on to the first segment. Okay. All right. So, for those of you that are not familiar, and I think I'm seeing two of you on here, so I think you're both familiar with it. I'm going to go and say this anyways. So, for those of you who are not familiar with this segment, the way it works is this is me essentially recording this segment as a YouTube video for later. So there are going to be some stops and starts, and then I'm going to do a demonstration more or less kind of like as we go. So hopefully you'll enjoy this. If you have any comments, go ahead and make them in the chat. I don't guarantee that I will respond to them while I'm trying to make the segment. I probably will, but chances are I won't be incorporating responses into the video that gets made. So anyways, have I had one yet? No, I have not had one yet. Is this going to be a thing where you ask me about that every week until I finally have one? Because, hey, I'm down. Go for it, Okay. All right. So, with that said, we're going to go ahead and get started. And here we go. Hey, everybody. Spidey Librarian here. And today I am going to show you how to listen to... There I go. Stop and start. How to listen to free audiobooks through your local library. Okay, all right. Try it again. Here we go. Hey everybody, Spidey Librarian here, and today I'm going to show you how to listen to free audiobooks through your local library right now. All right, how did that sound? Did that sound okay? Let's see. And I don't even remember. For those of you, did any of you guys read, or did any of you guys watch the how to make a Google account video that I did from last week's episode? Because I can't remember if I incorporated the little, the intro song into it. I probably did. Kind of my MO, so Hail to the Geeks, maybe. Okay, that's fair. That's completely and totally fair. So, all right, let's see. Okay, yes. All right. Okay, so we're going to go on and do the next part. Here we go. Okay. So there are a few decent ways to pass the time if you are stuck in traffic while driving, or if you are doing something repetitive that doesn't require a lot of concentration, or if you just want something to play in the background while you're doing something else. You have music, you have podcasts, and you have audiobooks. Oh, wow. Okay. That was one paragraph out of three, and I nailed it. Okay. All right. Next one. Okay. Yes. All right. With a valid card at your local library, as well as a nice little app known as Libby, you can have free access to electronic audiobooks and ebooks for with you whenever you're on the go. That's the part that I. All right, okay, we're gonna try this again. Okay. All right. With a valid library card at your local library, as well as an app. Okay, and I need to mention smartphones and tablets. So, all right. With a valid library card at your local library, as well as an app on your smartphone or tablet known as Libby, you can have free access to e-audiobooks and ebooks through your local library for whenever you're on the go. That felt a little stilted, but I don't know. You guys tell me. So, I think what I'm also going to do is I'm just going to read it, so that way I don't have to worry about memorizing the line. And then, if it, you know, if I can't include the visual with it, I can always put something else. So, all right. With a valid library card at your local library, as well as an app on your smartphone or tablet called Libby, you can have access to a collection of free audiobooks and ebooks with you whenever you're on the go. So, if nothing else, I can use that. So, all right. Okay. All right. Ah, yes. Okay, this one. This is the call to action. Okay. Before we get started, I am creating informational, educational, and entertainment content on this channel. If you enjoy this video and find it helpful, please consider thwipping on the subscribe button and hitting damn it, sorry. And hitting me up in the comments if you have an idea or a request for a future video. I'm going to try that again. All right, here we go. Before we get started, I'm creating informational, entertainment, and educational videos for this channel. If you enjoy what I'm doing and get any value out of it, please consider thwipping on that subscribe button and hit me up in the comments if you have any questions or a request for a future video. Okay. Oh, right, and this part. And back to it. Thwip. My arm is too long! Oh no! I need to go closer to the camera. All right, and back to it. Okay. All right, we're gonna try it one more time. And back to it. All right. Okay, now this part I actually don't have a script for. We're just gonna go ahead and do this. We're going to get rid of me. And we're going to go ahead and bring up my phone capture. You guys can see I'm using the phone for my script, which is fine. I'm going to continue to use it, but for now, we're going to go ahead and just talk about the process by which you would... Actually, hold on. For the first part of the process, you probably should be watching. We're going to go ahead and bring me back up. Okay. All right. And yeah, because the first part of the process, I need to talk about getting a library, which is going to be, I think, pretty easy. I'm going to just be like, Get your butts out to your library, go fill out a library card form. You're going to probably need a valid ID, all that stuff. So I'll do that real quick. Oh my God, that autofill. I don't understand why it does that, but it does that sometimes, and well, we got to live with it. Okay. So I learned last week while I was editing the Google account video that I do something that's really annoying. Did you guys hear that? I put my elbows on the desk and it bumps the desk, and it creates this little kind of thumping reverb on the mic. And so I'm trying really hard not to do that. So if I do that and I do it in a really bad place, let me know, because I will need to reshoot that. I don't want those in my videos if I can avoid them. So anyways, all right. So the first thing you're going to need to do is get a library card from your local library. If you haven't already done that, you absolutely should. Well, okay, we're gonna do that again. If you haven't already, you absolutely should, if for no other reason than to just be able to check out books. But you can also use your library card for a number of other things. Access to databases, access to electronic resources, and frankly, just visiting your local library. You're going to find a lot of things to do that don't even require a library. But in the meantime, definitely get one. You'll need it for the next step. All right. Okay. Now, I'm going to do something a little bit different here. I'm going to switch cameras. Oh, look at that! And it looks terrible at the moment because we had a little technical difficulty right before we went live. I had it set up and it looked, meh, passable. But what we're gonna do, and I know this isn't as good a camera, but I want to try multi-cameras, damn it. So we're doing multi-cameras. So, all right. Okay. So anyways, and let me know if, oh, hold on, wrong camera. Okay. Let me know if the difference in camera quality is too jarring. Because if it is, then I'll just go back to the other one. But if I can, I would like to try to use a multi-camera setup. And I mean, eventually I will. I'll get another webcam, or I'll get a camera or something like that. But right now I've got like a really old webcam, and then I've got like a slightly old webcam. So we're just kind of making do with what we've got for now. So, but yeah, if it's like too much of an issue, let me know. I definitely want to know. All right, so let's see. We've talked about getting a library card. Okay. The next thing you're going to want to do is to download an app called Libby. You can get this from either Android. Okay, we're going to do that again. All right. It's cutting me off, and I don't like it. But I also don't want to get too close to that stupid fan light, because that's terrible. Okay, all right. The next thing you're going to want to do is download an app called Libby. Libby is owned by a company called Overdrive, which many libraries in the US do business with to provide electronic content to their library users. Okay. All right. Let's see. Libby is available on both Android and Apple platforms, so I'll mention that too. Libby is available on both Android and Apple platforms, so you can either find it in the App Store or on the App Store or the Google Play Store. Okay. So you can find it in either the App Store or the Google Play Store. All right. Oh, we have someone asking, what t-shirt do you wear now with standing? Thanks. Oh, so, all right, yeah, I'll take a second and, yeah, hold on. So this is basically, this is one of my favorite t-shirts. This is Spider-Man done in 8-bit art, and it is around him, you've got all of his arch enemies, also done in 8-bit art. So this is actually one of my favorite shirts. A buddy of mine had gotten one for me years ago that was essentially a it was the first iteration, and it only had like 6 of his foes on it. So, but it was one of my favorite shirts to wear, and it was fading, so I had to get a replacement. So I got this one, and I consider it to be, awesome. It's a little bit of an upgrade, and I love it. So, all right. So let's see. We did the on Apple and Android platforms. Okay, and now this is the point where I'll go ahead and talk about how to do it. So doing this with my phone in a stand, and it's really difficult. So, or it's not difficult, it's just unusual. So it may, if I seem a bit awkward or fumbly, that is why. So let's see. We are going to. Okay, all right. Okay, I'm going to explain this as we go. If anyone has any suggestions on steps that I'm missing or something that I need to consider, please feel free to let me know. All right, here we go. So Libby can be found on the App Store in Apple or on the Google Play Store in Android. So what we're going to do is we are going to do a search in the Play Store for Libby. And there it is. It's Libby by Overdrive. So we're going to go ahead and basically hit that, and we're going to tap on that. And then we're going to go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I had uninstalled this already. Okay, well, I'm going to uninstall it. See, these are the little things that you do to prepare for a show that I just didn't like. I knew I needed to do it, but I didn't think about it. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and start again. And go. All right, okay. So let's try this again. Okay. You can find Libby by going onto the App Store or the Google Play Store and doing a search for Libby. The first choice is Libby by Overdrive. You want to go ahead and install the app. And then once you have it installed, you'll basically connect your public library card number with this app. Once you do that, your library will have purchased a collection of audiobooks and ebooks from Libby, to which you will have access. We're going to go ahead and open it up. And at present, Libby does not seem to recognize who I am. That's because I uninstalled it. What we're going to do is go ahead and find... Oh, okay, it knows who I am already. Dang it. Do I have to go in and disconnect my card? That sucks. All right, hold on. I thought it wasn't going to recognize me if I uninstalled the app, so... Okay, all right, hold on a second here. All right, I'm going to take a second to figure this out because this is one of those things that I did not anticipate. So give me just a second here. I'm not afraid of disconnecting my library card from the app because I know how to reinstall the app and reconnect it, so it's not a big deal. But I want to see. Yeah. It's great at keeping your information in, but trying to get yourself out of it. Let me see. Let's go to settings. Don't want to copy to another device. All right. Okay. Okay, sorry about this, fellas. This is another one of those things that, that I did not quite anticipate. Let me see. I want to disconnect my library. one. There is, okay. That's Harris County, and yeah. All right. Okay. Hold on a second. We'll figure this out. All right. In any case, how you guys doing? What are you up to? Tell me how your weekend has been. And did you do anything fun? Did you do anything exciting? I worked this weekend actually. And I packed a lot of stuff into today. Like I was super productive, and I didn't even work on the show anywhere near as much as I wanted to. So after you take something off your phone, the phone remembers it for 24 hours in case you change your mind. Oh, well, that's convenient, except for now. All right, hold on. With one card, yes. Okay. All right. So here's what I'm gonna do. This. We're going to disconnect library card from remove library card from Libby. Here we go. And hey, there we go. Libby has a process for it. Okay. Tap Libby, then cards plus under your libraries. Ah, okay, all right. So let's have a look. Okay. And the Flipster app remembers you no matter what. The Flipster app will never forget you. You are stuck with the Flipster app. Okay, so give me 1 second here. There's my card. Right. Okay, now that I'm at the card, what do we do? Don't need to switch libraries. I need to do, okay, tap actions. Okay, don't see. One card. There's the actions. Okay. And then we're going to remove the card. There we go. Okay. All right. We've got it. All right. But Star Wars Insider is on Libby. I don't even need Flipster. Yes, but you know what? Flipster needs you, apparently. Flipster will always need you. All right. Okay, so I think we can go back to the phone view real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and switch us back there. All right. And there we go. I want you to remember my time. I don't want you to remember anything about me. Okay. Now, I don't want it to remember that county either, but let's see. Am I going to have to search that up too? Oh my god. Hold on a second. Remove library from Libby. And I'll bet they've got the first hit there too. They do. Okay, all right. Okay. Reset the app, go to get some help, and then reset everything. Okay, that is what we're gonna do. So come here, Libby. All right. There it is. There's get some help. And then where is it? Reset everything. Yes, I'm gonna reset everything. I don't care that it doesn't remember that I read the Dresden Files on audiobook a lot. So okay. All right. So, with that said, there we go. All right. Okay. All right. So, now we can go back to Libby, and just to be certain, where did I put it? We're going to go ahead and just close it out. And then we'll go ahead and, where is it? There it is. Okay. All right. Okay, and then we'll resume things. 1 second to make sure everything. I think we're good. Okay, and here we go. So when you open up Libby, you'll get this start page, and it's going to basically ask, do you have a library card? If you have one, go ahead and say yes. I've never hit not yet. Let's just see what it says. It's basically telling you that you will need a library card and that you will have to go and get one. So it's going to help you find libraries near you. Oh boy. All right. If you have a library card, go ahead and select yes. When you do that, it's basically going to deliver you to another page. Okay, if you have Libby on another device, you should simply copy your cards across. I'm not doing that. We're assuming that you are just here for the first time ever on anything. Otherwise, you can look up your library by name or location, and then they'll use location, or Libby can use location tracking to guess what library card you have. I'm going to go ahead and do a search for a library, and I happen to use the Harris County Public Library, so we're going to go ahead and use that. Now it wants a library card number. So if you have a library card number, you're going to go ahead and put that in. So when you tap that, it'll bring you to this page. Then I believe you tap card number, and then you can go ahead and just enter it in. So I'm going to go ahead and enter it in. Your library card number is, I believe, a 14-digit number, at least at Harris County and also at Houston Public Library, where you can just go ahead and, it has a barcode and everything, so you can go ahead and just flip your library card over, enter it in, and that will get you in. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. That guess option always puts me in Kansas for no reason. Wow, I don't have that particular problem. Although it never guesses the right library for me, and that's one of the reasons that I'm not relying on the guess my location, because it's not always right. It's very imperfect, and yeah, I don't rely on it, and I don't think you should either. All right. And I'm going to just put in my library card number, and then we'll go ahead and proceed from there. So, all right, and then we're going to, right, and then sign in. Right, and then once you've entered your library card number, go ahead and tap sign in, and then you'll come to this page. This is Libby letting you know that you are with your local public library, and then it will have your linked card here. From there, what you can do is just start searching Libby's database for titles. I'm going to go ahead and do a search for the Dresden Files, and we're just going to go ahead and tap that. And you can take a look and see what items Libby has with those search terms. There's a lot of material from the Dresden Files here. You have both ebooks, you have audiobooks, you even have electronic graphic novels. So there's a lot that you can look for here. And your local library will have purchased, your local library will have purchased titles under a collection from Libby. Coverages will differ between libraries. Hold on one moment. Yep. There we go. I didn't want the sound of Velcro to intrude. Okay. So Your library will have purchased collections under Libby and will have different collections for each library. So if you are a member of multiple libraries, you will want to register as many library cards to Libby as you can so that you can have multiple coverages, because some libraries will contain titles that other libraries do not. Once you find an audiobook that you would like to borrow, let's say this copy of Full Moon here, we're going to go ahead and just tap the borrow option here. And then it basically will tell you that, yes, you're going to borrow this book for 14 days. When you tap borrow here, then it checks the book out to you. It automatically pulls the book back after 14 days. And basically, once you have borrowed the book will appear on your shelf. And as you can see, it's starting to download the audiobook right now. So once it finishes the download, you will have access to the audiobook through Libby and will be able to listen to it at any point you want over the next 2 weeks. If you go back to Libby here, it will... Oh, okay. If you go back to Libby here, it will ask you to manage your notifications. I'm going to go ahead and leave everything defaulted for now. And then when you go back to what is essentially your shelf, which is the books tab right here, that is going to be the collection of books that you have checked out from Libby. Again, you can, I don't remember what the limits are, and they may differ from institution to institution, but the loan period is 14 days, and there aren't any late fees with Libby. After 14 days, there is a license that you download with a copy of the audiobook that will simply pull the audiobook off your phone or mobile device after 14 days. So you don't have to worry about that. You do have to make sure that you finish the book in a timely fashion, though. Are there any other questions? First of all, does anyone here have any questions that they think I should cover that should be addressed in the video? I'll give you a few seconds to let me know, but I think that's the basics here. I talk about the bookshelf. I talk about just getting your card into Libby. I talk about the loan period. Oh, you know, I guess one thing I could do is I could talk about returning the books early. So let me just see. There. Due in 4 days. Is it this? No, hold on. Okay, I don't want to open the audiobook. Let's go ahead and manage the loan. Okay, all right, so you do have the option to return it early. Okay, so I'll go ahead and talk about that real quick. So if you finish your audiobook early and you would like to return it quickly, you can go ahead and do that. So what you want to do is, from your bookshelf, when you find the item in question, you want to tap on Manage Loan, and then you want to go ahead and return early. You have that option right there. So if you're done with the book, and I saw that 2 people are waiting, which is really weird because it was already available, then you can just go ahead and hit return, and that will release the book to the next person in the hold queue. So that is a way to be a good digital library neighbor, and you know, keep things going for everybody else who also uses Libby. Oh, Hail to the Geeks, that's a good point. These books, these audiobooks, whatever you download from Libby, they are available across multiple devices. So if you have a smartphone that you download all your books to, and then you have a tablet that you perhaps listen to when you're at home or something, if you download Libby with the same library account information, your library shelves will sync up, and I believe it will even hold your place in the book as well. So yes, it does work across multiple devices, and can be very useful for people who have multiple devices and are looking for their audiobooks on the go. All right. Thank you, Hail to the Geeks. That was an excellent suggestion. I really appreciate it. All right. Okay. And does anybody else is that good? I think we're good here. So, if you think we're good, we'll go ahead and move on. So, I think what I am going to do right now, if no one else has anything else to say, is we're going to go ahead and go back to my scripting. So let me go ahead and bring that back up. And let's see. We'll go back to this camera for the final portion of the segment here. Give me a moment and we will get the going, yes? Okay, so 2. All right, let's see. Go. All right. Okay, all right. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna do the next part, and we're really close to the conclusion, so we're almost done with this segment, guys. So, all right. Ooh. All right. Audiobooks are a wonderful way to consume media, and their versatility and portability are basic. And I screwed up already. Okay. Audiobooks are a wonderful way to consume media, and their versatility and portability make them a must have for anyone who is constantly on the go. All right. Yes. Okay. Libby is a powerful resource that most libraries do business with and provides this kind of electronic content to library users. It's worth getting a library card. Yeah. Okay. If you don't already have a library card, it's worth getting one, if for no other reason than to have access to this resource. Thinking I should just say ebooks. If you don't already have a library card, it's worth it to get one just to have access to ebooks and e-audiobooks, as well as other resources that your local library provides. I'm going to try that again because I tripped on it just a bit. If you don't already have a library card, it's worth getting one just to have. If you don't already have a library card, it's worth it to get one just to have access to ebooks, e-audiobooks, and other resources that are available at your local library. Okay, and we're at the final part here, so give me just a second. All right. Let's see. I hope you found this video helpful and informative. If you did, one of the best ways to support me would be by simply thwipping on the like button. It lets me know that you enjoy this kind of content and would like to see more of it in the future. All right. Right, okay. I'll be creating more informational. Okay, all right. I'll be creating more informational and entertainment content for this channel, so if you like what I'm doing, consider subscribing. All right. Thank you for watching, and have a good day. Right, and we are done with the first segment, guys. What do you think? We got it. We did it. All right, and you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and stop recording, and then we'll start for the other one. Just because, like, I know I'm going to make a video out of that first segment. So, all right. Okay, so our next segment is going to be the Pop Culture Roundup, and this one is going to be this one's going to be interesting. First of all, I need to create another source because I have a bunch of, let's see, we're going to go for an image slideshow source. And hold on, because what I've got, like, you know how last week I had the images for each of the news items, and I had to take a second for each one and set it up, and then, like, then we do that little bit of the segment. It was very awkward, and I'm just gonna go ahead and try to streamline that a little bit by using a slideshow image, where, like, I need to find these I need to find the source for it. So always play when no, stop when not visible, pause when not. Okay, we'll go with that. And where I want to, okay, I want to give it a folder. I don't want it to transition. I'm going to do a straight cut for now. I realize that's probably not the sexiest way to do it, but we're going to go ahead and I want to take a second to recognize Baddest Noir and Mournhold. How you doing, man? Good to see you. It has been a second. How is life? All right. Wolf, cut print perfect. Yes, in the can. Next one. Here we go. All right, so let me see if I can find the image files. Can we just, yes, I can add a directory. God, I love. Sometimes I hate them, but Here, live show, show images, and episode 2. We're going to select that folder. Hey, look at that. It put it right up there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide that pre-show. Now, let's see. Now this is going to be an interesting little exercise here, because what I'm going to have to do, all of these images are going to be different sizes. So there's still probably going to be some awkwardness, but I think this will cut down on it considerably, because what I can do is just go boom to the, whoop, dang it. It didn't tell me what key to use. I was thinking I could just use the directionals and that would be it. Okay, well, we're gonna have to figure that out. Hold on. I can do that by going to the properties. Hotkeys to control the slideshow. Okay, but what what hotkeys? No, I don't want that. Okay, that's odd. There's the slideshow. Oh, okay, all right. So if I hit this, okay, it does go to the next one. Okay, but I want a hotkey. I want to use a directional arrow. I do that because I want to eliminate mouse clicks as much as possible too, and that like, I'm okay with doing it this way. Yeah. Okay. If I hit stop, okay, that's interesting. All right. Filters. See, properties doesn't need. Well, thank you guys for your patience. Because right now I'm just kind of like, what the hell? Hey, why are you doing that? Why are you not behaving the way that I think you should? All right, I guess we're just going to be using these clicks for now. So that's all right. Again, see, my goal for this show, by the way, guys, is that I hope it gets a little bit better with each episode. That's my goal. I want to try to make it so that, like, it's just a little bit smoother, a little bit, more viewable. I realize that, like, anyone who doesn't know me and just comes into the show is going to be like, this guy sucks. He's not doing this smoothly. It's not meant to be smooth at first. So thank you guys for sticking around. I appreciate it. I'm going to do one last thing before we go forward. I'm going to go over to settings, and I want to see if there is a hotkeys. Not seeing one. Oh wait, yes there is. Okay. Want to use webcam. Hold on. Hold on, let me put that in there. Yes, I know. I suck. It's okay. I suck. I'm good with it. Okay. There's that. Show slide. I don't. Wow, okay, these hotkey images suck. Or these hotkey options suck. Switch scene, no. Hide. But I don't see anything for moving it along. Okay, whatever. I'll deal with this later. Okay. All right. So we're gonna move on to the news segment. So, all right. Anyways, so all right. So for this week's, and I'm gonna get rid of. Okay. All right. So, and I need to move this way, which is really weird. I'm not used to being on this side. I'm usually used to being over here, but now the images are here because I've flipped it, and it's so weird, you guys. It's so weird. Okay, anyways. All right. Okay, so welcome. Oh wait, hold on. I need to hit record again. There we go. Okay, we've hit record. All right. So, okay, so for this week's Pop Culture Roundup, we've had quite a few interesting little headlines this week. And a lot of them feature Nintendo and not always in the best of lights. So we're going to go ahead and start with the case against Gary Bowser. Now, for those of you who do not know, Gary Bowser is the gentleman is in his 50s. He's a hacker with a group called I can't remember, the Executors, I think it's called. And he recently basically pled guilty to hacking against Nintendo. Nintendo is notoriously litigious against basically any of their games being distributed, in a way that they don't agree with. Excuse me. And he still faces, I think, up to 10 years in prison and has to pay Nintendo $4.5 million for, I'm not even sure necessarily what the lawsuit exactly covers, but basically it involves him finding, basically distributing and probably selling ROMs of Nintendo games. And of course, Nintendo, they've been after him for years, apparently. They've basically gotten him to plead guilty in exchange for helping them find other executor assets. So they basically gotten Gary Bowser to turn on his fellow hackers. So we're gonna see how that goes, and that's really interesting because for all intents and purposes, first of all, the guy's name is Bowser, which is like, that's way too spot on. Okay, so this guy is a he's not related to the to the infamous Mario villain, but I'm telling you, it's difficult to even find a picture of this guy. Wait, hold on. So that I've got something coming in on my subdermal headphones here. Oh, we have found a picture of Gary Bowser, have we? Okay, well, let's have a look and just see what it is. It's oh god, it's Bowser. He's the actual cartoon villain. All right, okay. Anyways, moving on. the Nintendo Switch, we've already had issues with the Nintendo Switch being difficult to find once already in the past year and a half because pandemics are stupid. Well, it looks like Nintendo may be making the Switch difficult to find yet again, partially due to the pandemic. For those of you that don't already know, the pandemic has led to a shortage of microchips. The pandemic has led to a shortage of microchips, so microchip producers have scaled back productions. Well, now that the pandemic is kind of coming to a close, a lot of... Oh, hey. Hello, Trouble. Hi, how are you, sweetie? Oh, it looks like Trouble wants to be on the show with us. Hi, how are you? Oh, look at her. This is my sweet kitty. She is the best kitty in the world, aren't you? Oh, I love her. I love her, even when she's a little butt. Okay, all right. So, anyways, the okay. So for those of you who can't already see, she's curling up in my little lap. So, hold on. I'm going to adjust so that she can get comfy. There you go, sweetie. You go. And we're going to let the autofocus wear. Okay, all right. So Trouble has opinions about the Switch. Trouble loves the Switch. Don't you, sweetie? Yeah. I don't think she likes being on camera. She deliberately seems to keep below the line, so that's okay. That is okay. All right. So, anyways, so now that the pandemic is kind of sort of over, the demand for microchips has gone up, and microchip producers have not been able to yet kind of fill that demand because they had to cut back for such a long period of time. You've also got the kind of shipping supply line issues that we're having in this country and all over the world that are also contributing to the factors that may make the Switch difficult to find yet again, and it's not fun. So it is not fun. Okay, hold on. She's being really needy at the moment, and once her scritches, we're gonna take a second here. Hey, Art Chemist, how you doing? Welcome to the show. I'm in the middle of doing the news segment, or well, I will be once I satisfy my cat's need for affection here. So. Hello, sweetie. How are you? I love this kitty. I love her very much. So, for those of you that haven't already seen her, I'm going to lift her up for just a second. And she's... I don't know that she appreciated that, but... Oh, hi. Hello. Okay, alright. Okay. But yeah, so the Switch may be difficult to find again if you don't already have one and we're thinking about getting one. May want to try to get one now because you don't know when you'll next have the opportunity to. All right, Marvel's Avengers. Marvel's Avengers has done a couple of newsworthy things recently. First of all, Marvel's Avengers is one of those games that I wanted so much to love. And to be fair, the story campaign is pretty good. Hi, Trouble. Okay. To be fair, the story campaign is pretty good, but most of the game is centered on sort of high-level online raids so that you can get loot to make your characters stronger so that they can go on higher level raids to get better loot to make themselves even stronger, and it's an endlessly repeating cycle. They have withdrawn some of the, I think, the for purchase experience packs that they had put up for a while, and it had caused a lot of anger among the player base. So they withdrew them eventually and apologized to the player base for not listening to them. So that's good, I suppose, but I don't know if it's going to bring me back to play the game. However, there is something that will bring me back to play the game, at least temporarily. And it's this guy. Okay? It's Spider-Man, and it looks like Spider-Man is coming to Marvel's Avengers at the end of the month. It looks like as of November 30th, he will be available, I believe, in the PlayStation versions of the game, which is what I have. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. I want to see what he looks like, and I want to see if it's like the same Spider-Man from like the Insomniac games, Spidey, we'll see. I don't know. But that at least temporarily will bring me back to the game. Once I finished the campaign, I was kind of done with it. So I don't know if it's worth like the full $60 price tag. It might be less now because it's been over a year since the game came out. But it's they're at least going to get me back temporarily because of this guy. Okay. All right. And moving on. All right. Final item in the world of video games is that Netflix is apparently streaming games. So this is interesting to me, at least, because I have a Netflix subscription, or at least I have access to one. And essentially, it's only currently available to Android users. Hi. You are being so sweet. You know that? You are being the sweetest, most needy little kitty in the world, and I just can't tell you how much I adore that. Yeah. Yes, you are. You are. You are so sweet. Oh my god. All right. Noir says that they removed the experience boost, but they didn't change the experience gain rate. I mean, at this point, it's a portion of the game that doesn't really concern me, but like, I get why that would anger people. But yeah, I don't know. They're, I can't help the feeling that the Avengers game is just one of those areas where, excuse me, they screwed the pooch so hard, you know? Is that purring? I don't think she's purring right now. I don't think she's purring. I don't know. Maybe she is and I didn't notice. But anyways, so Netflix is they're apparently streaming games. I have not yet had an opportunity to try this out, but I really do want to because I like the idea like of having access to games through yet another platform that I already subscribe to. So, but apparently it's available on You're a butt. You're such a little butt. Can you guys? No, you guys can't see her. Oh, she is. She's being so affectionate and like, occasion. I don't even think the tilt down. There you go. But yeah, she's just like whenever my hand's like up here, you give it a second, and she will look up at it and she'll do that. Oh, she's such a little butt. I love it. I love this kitty very much. Okay. I have had this kitty for 3 years and she's awesome. All right. But yeah, Android users are currently able to access games through Netflix. Again, I haven't had the opportunity to explore this because I'm having password issues with Netflix for some reason. I can access it just fine through my PlayStation, but like trying to gain access through Android has proven problematic for me. But if anyone has any experience with it, let me know what you think of it because I'm really, I'm, yeah, because I'm really curious to know how Netflix is doing with this particular bit. So, all right, moving on. Okay, so in the world of movies, the Morbius trailer dropped earlier this week, and I have done a reaction video to it. So if you get the opportunity and want to see it, go check it out. It's on my channel, and it's just a few videos down at this point. So, one of the headlines that came out around the Morbius trailer was that it looks like it connects to four different other Spider-Man worlds. It looks like it connects to the MCU Spider-Man world, the Andrew Garfield Spider Verse, and then the Raimi verse, as a lot of people like to call it. And then, this one doesn't surprise me. It apparently connects to the Venom universe as well. And the way that it does all of these things, I at first thought the fourth Spider-Man universe was Into the Spider-Verse, but apparently I was wrong. You'll see that in the video. Just go check it out sometime. But anyways, so MCU connection is established through Adrian Toomes, because you do see Michael Keaton's character in the trailer. And if that's the case, he has to be a variant. I'm just not accepting that that's actually Adrian. So there's one. Oh, and looks like Trouble is done relaxing in my lap. And now her tail is up against the microphone. You're being a butt, you know that? You're being a little butt. Sorry, guys. This is always going to happen, though. Whenever Trouble comes into frame, I'm going to pay attention to her because, she likes her attention. Okay. But anyways, so we have Michael Keaton appearing for the MCU connection. For the Andrew Garfield verse connection, Oscorp actually makes an appearance, and it looks like the Oscorp building that we see in the Andrew Garfield movies, which is really interesting to me. The Raimi Spider-Verse, the Raimi-verse Spider-Man connection occurs through a couple of points. One, you actually see the Daily Bugle, which looks like the Daily Bugle from the Raimi-verse, but also there's a Daily Bugle that looks like it's from the Raimi-verse in the Venom universe as well. So I'm not sure what's going on here, but I think they could make some interesting connection possibilities. Finally, Venom. He references Venom directly. They talk about that thing in San Francisco. I'm assuming that Morbius occurs in the Venom universe because it's a Sony production that they're doing right now, and that, essentially, like, this universe is connecting in weird ways to other universes. It makes for some interesting possibilities, and hopefully, we'll get to see those explored as we go on. So, all right, in Star Wars news, it looks like a Darth Maul animated series is in development, and it looks like Paul Bettany is going to be in the I'm sorry. I'm occasionally just noticing the cat here. But it looks like there's a Darth Maul animated series in development, and that Paul Bettany is going to be in it, presumably as his character. What was his name? Rylan Voss or something like that. I know Hail to the Geeks will probably know that character's name, so when she puts it in the chat, I'll shout it out if she puts it in the chat. Maybe she doesn't know. But, Hail to the Geeks is one of the few people I don't mind losing a Star Wars trivia contest. All right. But, yeah, I'm of course really interested to see what that's going to entail. And I believe Darth Maul ran a criminal enterprise in the time between the Phantom Menace and, I don't know, whenever the heck we next see him. So I'll be interested to see what happens there. Okay, let's talk about the Book of Boba Fett. Hold on. Trouble is in another chair, and she's about to make a lot of noise, and I don't want her to do that, so give me a second. Trouble, do you want to help? Come on. There you go. Okay. Dryden Voss. Okay, all right. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Okay. Dryden Voss. All right. Okay, all right, guys. Let's talk about the Book of Boba Fett. So, a trailer for the Book of Boba Fett came out earlier this week. I have done a reaction, but I have not yet posted it. So you'll be seeing that. If you want to see it now, go to my Twitch channel. It's Spidey Librarian. I think it was from a few days ago, probably on Friday. It was either Tuesday or Friday. So it's going to be one of those two. And it'll be on the latter half of the stream because the first half is just gameplay. So, but I will be putting that up on my YouTube channel soon. It's gonna be the next one that I edit. But if you've seen the trailer, first of all, it looks fantastic. I cannot wait. I want to see what's going on. It looks like Jabba is taking over the remnant, or Jabba. It looks like Boba Fett, sorry, is taking over the remnants of Jabba the Hutt's criminal enterprise and is going to run things in a different way. He's not going to be as violent or fear-inducing as Jabba the Hutt tended to be. He tended to rule through fear. Boba Fett, after just killing off Bib Fortuna and taking Jabba's throne from him, has decided he wants to do things a little bit differently. He wants to basically rule through mutual respect, which sounds good on the surface, but I'm sure that many people will perceive that as weakness and try to kill him. So I'm guessing that the series is going to feature a lot of plotting and backstabbing and Boba Fett having to defend himself and Fennec Shand, kicking ass on his behalf. So it looks great, and I'm here for it. However, there is a character from the Star Wars Legends canon who did exactly this thing in the Timothy Zahn series of novels, the Heir to the Empire novels. It was a character by the name of Talon Card. Talon Card, during the, what is popularly known as the Thrawn trilogy, basically took over the remnants of Jabba's empire and basically used it to kind of expand his smuggling operations and his, basically his smuggling operations and tried to, I don't want to say legitimize the seedier parts of it, but to run them in a way that, basically focused on merit as opposed to, slobbering loyalty. So I'm a little disappointed that Star Wars is going to basically take Boba Fett and make him into Talon Card, because I think Star Wars is wasting a golden opportunity here. Because if you take a look at Talon Card, if you Google Talon Card, he looks exactly like Robert Downey Jr. does right now. All right? And they just got done using Robert Downey Jr. for the MCU. So this is like the perfect time to move him into the Star Wars family if he wants to do that. And cast Robert Downey Jr. as Talon Card, as the smuggler with a heart of gold, and they're going to make money hand over fist. And I don't understand why they would neglect. Do they really not want to pay Timothy Zahn for the use of yet another character? That makes no sense to me. They've already reused Thrawn. They need to bring in Mara Jade, and they need to bring in Talon Card. Those are three excellent characters developed by this author. So I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's other factors. All I know is that right now, Disney, come on, you're missing out on a golden opportunity here, in my opinion. So, anyways, Hail to the Geek says that Dave Filoni has never steered us wrong. He hasn't steered us wrong before. I feel like this is a missed opportunity, so, to each his own, I know. So, anyways, let's move on from that. Again, still looking forward to Boba Fett. Want to see it, not gonna lie, but still a missed opportunity. So, all right. Okay, Ghostbusters Afterlife. Okay, guys. So, really isn't much in the way of new news for Ghostbusters Afterlife this week, aside from the fact that tickets did go on sale earlier this week. I have already purchased them. Pretty much my entire household is going to go see the movie on Thursday night, and I, for one, cannot wait. I'm so excited for this movie. I expect to sob in the theaters. I expect to be brought to tears. So, um, big fan of the Ghostbusters as a franchise. Really loved the first movie. I thought the second movie was just fun. I've rewatched it recently, and really, I mean, it's not as good as the first one, but what is. And it was just, I enjoyed it. It was great. It continued the story of those characters, and it ended in fairly funny comedic fashion. So I'm here for it. I don't have anything. I don't have anything against the 2016 movie. I thought it was fine. I don't understand why it gets as much hate as it does. I do understand some issues that people had with it, but I also think the fact that it takes place in another universe essentially negates a lot of those criticisms. But that's just me. So, anyways, tickets are on sale now. If you haven't gotten them and you want to see this movie, get them now because it is exclusively in movie theaters. You will not be able to stream this for a while. So, anyways, check it out. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you go see it. Let me know what you think of it. The Eternals came out this week. I have seen it and I enjoyed it, but it definitely is controversial in a lot of ways. Now, it has a very low critic score on Rotten Tomatoes. But for me, what the real news item here is that the fan score is way higher. I mean, like, I think the I think the last time I checked, the critic score was 51%, so it's rotten. Okay, the general audience score 86%. That's good. Okay, that's definitely not as high as other Marvel movies, but that's good. That's actually a very good rating. The interesting thing about the Eternals is that it is a very different type of Marvel movie. It's very The focus is very different. It's on an even grander scale than Endgame. You really do have to kind of take the Infinity Saga and just put it aside because there's a different type of storytelling going on here that is larger in scope and actually poses the quandary of what what it means to be a hero, what is right and what is wrong on a truly galactic scale. It does have action, it does have humor, but it also has a different focus. And I think a lot of people who go into the movie theaters expecting kind of a typical retread of the various beats that the MCU movies have put out to date. If that's what you end up expecting, you just kind of want like this popcorn flick, you're probably going to be at least a little disappointing, or at least a little bit. You're going to be at least a little bit disappointed, or at least a little bit put off. Um, it's a little bit jarring, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I really do think that the MCU does need to kind of change up its storytelling, and it can't continue to just do the same things that it always has done. And I think this is a good first step in that direction. I think there were some stumbles as a result. I think that the movie probably had far too much on its plate that that its director had to accomplish in order for it to be executed properly. But I do think that they are trying to. I do think they're trying to take a more ambitious effort with this film, and I think that's a good thing. I think that we need to go in a different direction from the Infinity Saga, and I think because the Infinity Saga is essentially over, and I think that this is an interesting way to kind of get away from that and see what other kinds of things we can explore in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I definitely think The Eternals is worth watching. I'm probably going to go back for a rewatch at some point, simply because I'm still trying to wrap my head around various aspects of it. So I think that a lot of people who have had negative things to say, primarily the professional critics, I think a lot of them are probably criticizing Marvel movies for not being what Marvel movies have been in the past, which I think is valid, but I also think is potentially a little bit short sighted because, we all know that Marvel movies have been criticized in the past for being what they are. So, it strikes me as maybe a little bit hypocritical, but I think that this movie is a good step in the right direction. Not a perfect step. There are definitely flaws, but it's worth seeing, and I definitely recommend it. Okay, final news item of the week. Chris Pratt. We found out recently that he's going to be voicing Mario in a Nintendo, approved Super Mario Brothers movie. Now we found out that he's going to be voicing Garfield the cat in another Garfield movie. And you know, first of all, I like Chris Pratt. He's a funny guy. He has got some he's got some interesting roles under his belt. I don't have an issue with him personally. At least not yet. But oh my god, like this dude has just got. Hold on, I think this picture is slightly cut off. Is there anyone that this guy is just like not gonna be voicing? I mean, are they gonna come out with a Pokemon movie and just have him voice all the Pokemon? And maybe the live action characters too? I mean, it's just like. And I've seen headlines of people saying, Chris Pratt is ruining all of my childhoods. All right, people, get over yourself, okay? He's not ruining anything, all right? Your childhood things that Chris Pratt is now voicing all exist without Chris Pratt voicing them. It's not like they've taken those away and that you don't have access to them. But it does strike me as a little bit ridiculous that Chris Pratt is suddenly doing all of these high profile, like, animated character voiceover roles. And it's just like, dude, aren't you Star Lord? Aren't you that dude from Jurassic World? Like, you know, you spread the love around for some other people. That's all I'm saying. So, anyways, it's an interesting item. I thought it was funny. I thought it was a little bit ridiculous, and I thought it was worth mentioning. So, anyways, uh, that is all for this segment of the Pop Culture Roundup, and we are going to move on to the next one in just a second. All right, I've gone ahead and stopped recording for the moment. And wow, we're running a lot longer than I thought I would. Sorry. I'll try to make this one quick. This next segment should go by fairly quick. So I'm gonna take a 5-minute break, and I'll be right back. In the meantime, I don't have. Okay. All right. We'll skip on the break, but I am gonna go let trouble in. Let me get rid of. Okay. I'll be right back. Yes, I see you there. All right. Yeah. Yes, I know. I know. You're such a pretty kitty. You're such a pretty kitty, and you know it. So, oh, yeah. Tell me more. Tell me more. For you. All right. Okay. So I'm hoping that that Wolf will appreciate this, but tonight's segment. Actually, let me just go ahead and restart the recording. So I'm hoping that Wolf will appreciate this, but tonight's segment is pretty much the reason. I'm always gonna. Okay. Tonight's segment is pretty much the reason that I have done away with the mirrored uh, element of my uploads and my. One, I need to get used to it as a YouTube. I know that a lot of YouTubers wear shirts with print on them, and I do it too. And I'm going to be showing you guys comic book covers. But in the past, I've just had a really hard time getting past it because what I do is I have my encoder up, so I can see myself in real time. And when I do this and it's not mirrored, it's really confusing to me. Like it throws my brain off. I have to get used to that. That's on me as a performer. So I'm trying to do that tonight, and this segment is the start of me doing it. Hopefully, I will continue to do this for my other uploads and live streams. But in the meantime, let's get down to it. So, all right. So this week's pop culture deep dive is essentially me talking about collecting comic books and showing off some of my comics for you. So I want to talk a little bit about comic book collecting in general. I think it was in the 1970s, but basically that's when comic book shops, started to be a thing. Comics before then were sold at newsstands, and they were not really treated as kind of valuable artifact items, as collector's items, if you will. It was in the 70s that comic shops started coming around, and with the rise of comic shops, you basically got collectors who wanted to kind of hold on to their comics and just kind of like keep them in good condition. And we've seen through the years that comics can rise and fall in value just like stocks, really, if you want to get down to it. But they revolve around specific characters, or storylines, or publishers, or artists, or writers, or things like that. Those can all affect the value of a comic book. I don't really collect comic books for the value. I kind of collect them because I like them. I like the physicality of them. I like being able to read them. I do read a lot of comic books on on digital these days. I have a Marvel Unlimited subscription, which I highly recommend. It's like, I think, $60 a year. And you basically have access to almost anything, not quite everything, but almost anything older than about 6 months that Marvel does. So I've read a lot of old Marvel comics that way. And it's really nice. But I mean, I also collect the physical comics. And one thing that I have found out about collecting the comics physically is that over the years, you have to store them. And that takes space. And that takes materials. And that takes dedication. And so I have basically pared my comics that I physically collect down to one title, The Amazing Spider-Man. Surprise, surprise. It is my goal to collect the entire run of The Amazing Spider-Man. And I have issues, I think 300 through 700. I have every single one of them. Beyond those kind of bookends, everything's broken up because I did stop collecting for. But one of the things that I really do enjoy is just kind of getting your hands on that one comic that is just like, yes, I love it. And I want to show you guys a couple of the crown jewels of my collection. Now, a couple of them that I know I have, but I wasn't able to find in time for this segment. I do have Edge of Spider-Verse #2, which came out about 7 years ago. That is the very first appearance of Spider-Gwen. And I knew I knew before it came out that that one was going to be lightning in a bottle. I knew that people were going to respond very positively to that character, and damn it, I was right. Now, last time I checked, I think a near mint copy of her first appearance is about $300, something to that effect. So, when I saw that, I was just like, "Oh, cool! It's a 7-year-old comic and it's worth $300. That's nice." But also, I also have, I think it's Uncanny X-Men number 282, which I think that's the right number. It's the first appearance of Bishop in the X-Men comics. And Bishop is not my favorite X-Man, but like I'm really happy that I have his first appearance because he was definitely a noteworthy character, and he's still pretty cool. I've got plenty of other X-Men that I like better than him, but like he first appeared right around the time I started collecting. So, um, by the by, I started collecting comics when I was probably about 12 years old, and essentially, I I basically was kind of already interested in superheroes and stuff like that. I was into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at the time, and I found a stash of comic books when I was visiting my grandmother at the time in my uncle's room. He had a bunch of, like, some of them were pretty old. Some of them were the very first like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic, which now I'm just like, God, those are flippin' valuable. Unfortunately, my uncle has passed away. He actually passed away last week, suddenly. But it is because I found that stash of his comic books at that point in time in my life when I was really kind of, how when you're a kid, you get interested in a lot of things. And sometimes when you're interested in something, you find like this catalyst that really helps to crystallize your interest in that thing and make it a part of not necessarily your identity, but a part of the things that you love. I guess that is a part of your. That's what that box of comics that my uncle had at that time were for me at that age. So it was about right then that I started collecting comics. Started loving. I want to show you guys a couple of the comics that I did get for this segment. Take a look. So, we're all familiar with Venom, right? The symbiote, all of that stuff. Well, a couple years ago, um, one of my relatives on another side of my family, a different uncle. This gentleman actually does own a comic shop. Pretty damn cool, I think. But essentially, he basically kind of hit me up. He said, "Hey, are you still looking for Spider-Man key?" And I'm like, "Am I still me?" He's like, "Okay, well, I've got something that you might be interested in." I'm like, "Yeah? What do you got?" It's like, "Well, I have an issue of Amazing Spider-Man number 100. The very first, like, milestone issue. Like, anniversary issue? I don't know. The 100, 200, 300, you know. Like, at the very first one, he's like, it's graded at about a 4 or a 5. Like, do you want it? So I asked him the price. He quoted me a price. I'm like, yes, I will pay that for it. But that's not what makes this the crown jewel of my collection. What makes it the crown jewel of my collection is that I got it signed by Stan Lee. Okay. Stan Lee was the writer on this issue. Stan Lee wrote Amazing Spider-Man for the first 100 issues. So this was the final issue that Stan Lee wrote, right? Now, this is not slabbed. This doesn't have a certificate of authenticity or anything. The reason I know that this is Stan Lee's signature is because I watched him sign it a few years ago at a comic book convention. I was in my Spider-Man cosplay at the time, and it was kind of great because Stan, who, he was not impolite, but he was very kind of like, he had his head down and he was just signing and grabbing and signing and everything. And while he was signing this comic, I took the opportunity to talk to him and basically tell him, Stan, I just want to say thank you for creating the Amazing Spider-Man. He had a tremendous impact on my life and my philosophy about things. And so, and he didn't look up, but he's like, oh, well, thank you. He said it. And then he signs the book, he hands it over to me, and he looks up at me at that time. And again, I'm wearing like a Spider-Man suit. I have the mask off so he can see my face, okay? But he sees me in the Spider-Man suit, and he actually smiles at me and goes, "Hey, Spidey." And it was just, kind of one of those like he said, "Hey, Spidey" to me. It was like it's one of those moments in my life that I'm always going to remember. But that to me makes this comic, it will probably always be the crown jewel in my collection. If I get a copy of Amazing Fantasy 15, maybe that'll change, but I have this story to go along with this comic, and I mean, to me that makes it more valuable. So, did I give Stan Lee a thwip? No. I hadn't developed the Spidey Librarian persona by that point, and the idea of doing the thwip is it's a relatively new thing, actually. Someone suggested it a couple of years ago on my YouTube channel when I was streaming MCOC. I think I was streaming crystal openings once a week or something. And someone said, hey, you're always wearing Spidey gear, and you know a lot about Spider-Man. You should do, because I think my name was like Web Zip something or other, and this is before I had the Spidey Library naming idea. And someone suggested, well, you should like open and close with a thwip, and I was like, that is an awesome idea. I think I will do that. So, all right. Anyways, moving on. So this one I found, as you can see from the label, I found it at a Bedrock City Comics. I live in Houston, Texas, and so Bedrock City is my local comic shop. It's the one that I go to the most. And fortunately, Bedrock has they've got like 4 locations around the town. Sorry, the lighting is just terrible here. But basically, one of my hookups at Bedrock was like, "Hey, you interested in getting your hands on the first appearance of the symbiote?" And I'm like, "Do fish swim?" And so I was able to get a pretty good deal on a decent copy of this. And as you can see, there's a signature on there. It's Michael Zack. He was the artist of this comic. And so I may not necessarily have the first appearance of Venom, but I sure as hell have the first appearance of the symbiote that merged with Eddie Brock and eventually became Venom. So this was a nice little a nice little jewel to add to the crown of my comics collection. And because I got it signed by Mike Zeck, he was able to give me a certificate of authenticity, verifying that this is Michael Zeck's signature, and that this isn't a forgery or whatever. So I think this is a pretty cool little addition. Venom is not my favorite Spider-Man character, but I recognize how significant he is to Spider-Man and just how popular he is. So this is just a fun little first appearance issue to have as part of my collection. Okay, so the next four comics I'm really excited to show you guys because they are very recent acquisitions. Hail to the Geeks, for those of you that don't know, Hail to the Geeks is a coworker of mine, and I believe, I don't know if she was there, but I think she was around when one of our patrons came up to me. For those of you that don't know, I'm a librarian, work in a public library, and I dress like this. I dress like this for work every day. Okay. It helps that I am I'm a teen services librarian, so that I can kind of dress down a little bit. But one of our patrons saw me in he sees me every day dressed like this. Comes up to me one day. He's like, "Hey, you collect comics?" And I was like, "Have a seat," you know. And so he told me that he was basically looking to sell off his collection that he had been amassing over the decades. Well, I was like, yeah, sure. Let me know what you've got, and then we can, we can talk price or something. So he basically writes down on a sheet of paper like a list of all the just the Spider-Man comics that he's got, and basically says, hey, what do you want? What do you want to pay for the lot? And I'm looking at some of these comics, and my eyes are bugging out of my head. I'm like, you serious? First of all, it was a lot of over 150 comics that had Spider-Man in it. Most of them were Amazing Spider-Man. Okay, and I've mentioned before, I have issues 300 through 700, like all of them. A lot of these were before issue 300. And some of them I had, but a lot of them I didn't. So it fills a lot of gaps in my collection. I'm not going to show you any of those first. I want to show you these two first. Okay, all right. So one of the comics that was on that list that I could not believe he was considering selling to me is a comic that I'm sure you guys have seen if you collect comics at all. But essentially, this is I'm sure a lot of you guys recognize this cover. All right, I think it's like Amazing Spider-Man like 695 or something. Basically has a riff on this cover where it's Spider-Man and Alpha, Spider-Man versus Alpha or something like that. But this cover is the very first team up between Superman and Spider-Man. It's actually Superman versus Spider-Man. And as you can see, this comic is huge. I don't just mean thick, because it is thick, but just in terms of regular size comics, look at this. Sorry. It's huge. Okay? I didn't realize that this comic was as big as it is. I was like, "Oh wow, okay." But this was one of the comics in the collection that patron ended up selling to me. There was a follow-up to that comic. It's Superman and Spider-Man as they team up, apparently against that's what, Doctor Doom and is that Amazo? I can't remember. It's a DC Comics villain. So, but yeah, so these were two like really noteworthy acquisitions that were in the lot that that our patron ended up selling to me. So these were very cool, and I was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I have these now." Okay, but these final two, whew, oh guys, oh guys. Okay, so can anyone tell me before I show you these? Can anyone tell me what arguably is one of the defining moments of the Silver Age of comics that occurred in a Spider-Man title? Anyone want to take a guess? Anyone want to, anyone want to say, take a crack at an event or something that happened in Spider-Man that was like a huge, big thing? Anyone want to take a guess? Wolf has made the guess of Gwen Stacy's death. Gwen Stacy's death, a lot of people say, basically heralded the end of the Silver Age of comics. Like once Gwen Stacy died, that was basically the end of the Silver Age of comics and the start of the Bronze Age of comics. Um, yes, huge, huge, huge event. And when I found out that Amazing Spider-Man number 121 was part of this lot, guys, my jaw hit the floor. I was like, "Oh my god, I might actually finally get my grubby paws on a copy of Amazing Spider-Man number 121." Now, to be fair, this is a comic that has definitely, physically, it's seen some wear and tear. It's not in perfect condition. There are a couple of issues, like along the spine. There's a little bit of a dog ear on this corner here. A couple of creases and stuff. But you know what? Overall, this is a comic that's in pretty damn good condition. I don't know what I would grade it at, but oh my god, like, and all I'm gonna say, I'm not gonna discuss the amount that I paid for the lot, but I will say this: whatever grade that comic is in, it alone is worth the price that I paid for the entire lot. Okay, like and just so you guys know, okay, I'm a collector, but I'm also an ethical collector. Okay, I told this library patron, I told him, look, sir, you probably could get way more money for this collection of Spider-Man comics than I am going to be able to give. I'm like, I don't have a ton of disposable income. Some of these comics are going to be collector's items, and like an actual comic shop will probably have the resources to give you a higher payout than I can. And he basically told me, he's like, he's like, really I don't really care about that. I want these comics to go to a good home. You seem like you appreciate them. And and he quoted me a price that I was just like, "Are you sure that's all you want for them?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Do you want them?" I'm like, "Yeah. Yeah, I will take them." So, final show of the night. Does anyone recognize this one? It says The Green Goblin's Last Stand. This is the this is the follow up. This is the follow up to Gwen Stacy's death. As you can see, Spider-Man is holding Gwen Stacy, and she's dead in the on this cover. All right, and Spider-Man is basically saying, "Today's the day you're going to die." Okay. Now, this story is very familiar to Spider-Man fans as well, because Peter has tried to save Gwen after the Green Goblin threw her off a bridge. He wasn't able to save her. She died anyways. And Spider-Man basically turned around and beat the tar out of the Green Goblin. Just beat him to a bloody pulp and basically came within, you know, an inch of killing him off. And he, at the last second, backed off and basically said, I don't want to become a murderer for you. Gwen wouldn't want me to do that. My Uncle Ben wouldn't want me to do that. But the Green Goblin was like, I don't care. And basically Spider-Man was standing over him. Like, he'd just gotten done beating him up. The Green Goblin basically summoned his glider and had a spear tip extension. We basically saw this play out at the end of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man first movie. And basically tried to impale Spider-Man with his glider. Well, Spider-Man has a spider sense and jumped out of the way, but the glider kept coming and got Norman Osborn and killed him. And that's the comic where that happens. So these, I'm not going to say that they're the crown jewels of my collection yet, but these four recent acquisitions from that I got from a library customer who just saw me wearing this stuff and basically said, you will probably appreciate these. I'd like to sell these to you. I'm very, like, I feel very blessed. I'm very happy about it. So, um, I think, I mean, I'm definitely like, you know, my comic book collecting habit kind of like comes and goes. But this was just one of those opportunities that I was just like, I have to take this, and so I did, and I'm super super excited that I did. So, anyways, I hope that if you're a comic book collector, that that it's one of those things that brings you a lot of joy, and that it's something that you don't, hopefully you don't treat it as an investment. I really don't see my comic book collecting as an investment. I collect the stuff that I really want to collect, which in this case is going to be Spider-Man. But I also, like, I'm not saying that I probably won't sell my collection off at some point in the future. Probably will, when I don't need them anymore, or maybe I don't know, maybe I'll gift them to someone. I don't know. But I mean, like, because we're not going to live for, you know, much as I would like to. Actually, I don't know if I. Anyways, but at this point, I just collect them just for the sake of giving me joy. So I think that is probably the way that most collectors should approach their comic book collections. And you never know. You might run into that one person who goes, "You look like you would respect these comics." And so and maybe they'll sell them to you for way less than you would have paid otherwise, you know. I don't know, it's something that I enjoy. It's just one of those nice little surprises that come up in life so often. So I find I consider myself to be very blessed in this area, and so hopefully you are as well. And I think that's going to do it for the pop culture deep dive segment. And yeah, so all right. And I just went ahead and stopped the recording. I'm going to go ahead and put these comics over on the chair so that trouble will not jump on them. Okay. All right. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and switch here for the final segment because damn it, I have multi-camera and I want to use it. So, you know, I know this is not a great camera, but whatever. All right. And so first of all, I want to thank you guys again for hanging out with me. Again, this is my first real kind of foray into trying to do anything resembling a live show. And I know that my production right now is probably very low. It's very clunky. I make a lot of missteps. I take a lot of time having to do things that I wasn't quite prepared for. And really this is a learning experience, and I really am kind of making I'm trying to put the process in the forefront. Hopefully what I my goal is with each new episode I'll do something that you guys haven't seen before. So, for instance, this multi camera aspect is something that I wanted to incorporate into the live show simply because I've never done it before. And, again, this camera is not one of my better cameras, but um, I can still do like different views, and so I figured we could do something like that, and we can probably tweak it in the future and make it something that we can have a little bit more fun with and going forward. So I don't know what I'm going to try to do next week, but we'll figure something out. In the meantime, this final segment of the show is viewer Q&A. So if you guys have anything that you would like to ask me, now's the time. It could be a reference question, it could be a personal question, not too personal, of course, but it can be a question about some aspect of pop culture. If you guys want to ask me a question, just go ahead and put it in the chat. I think what I may do is I'm going to scroll up in the chat real quick, and I'm going to answer again a question that someone asked earlier in the chat. Apis Bin Senin stopped in and asked, "What T-shirt do you wear now with standing?" I think my interpretation of that question is, what T-shirt are you wearing, and can you stand and show us? That's that. So, and again, I'll go ahead and just show you guys. I am wearing a Spider-Man / done in a Mega Man style T-shirt. Here we go, and he's got all of his. He's got, well, not all of it, but he's got a whole bunch of his Rogues Gallery. So there we go. Sorry, the mirror is still kind of confusing. Or the non-mirroring. So, okay, the light on this is terrible, so I'm sorry about that. But we can see Spider-Man done as kind of a Mega Man character here in 8-bit format. And then we can see we can see a bunch of his Rogues Gallery. So we got Kingpin, Sandman, Doc Ock, Hydro Man, Rhino, Vulture, Shocker, Electro, Mysterio. Hold on, who is that? That is Hobgoblin, Anti-Venom, Venom, Carnage, Green Goblin, Kraven the Hunter, Scorpion, Chameleon, and the Lizard. So, it's a favorite of mine. I have another shirt that is kind of the first iteration of it that a buddy of mine got me as a gift years ago, and it's getting faded, and I'm probably gonna have to retire it soon. So I went and found another version of that shirt that had more dudes on it, basically. And yeah, it remains one of my favorite shirts to wear. So it was a great gift from a good friend of mine. But yeah, thank you for the question. Gotten a couple of more. Diablo wants to know who can kill Spider-Man. He typed it Spodyman. So there have actually been a couple of people who have killed Spider-Man. Morlun has actually been successful. He basically, I don't think he was successful, but he came damn close. He basically plucked out his eye and ate it. He disfigured Spider-Man and would have killed him. I don't remember exactly what happened. It's been a while since I've read that story. But essentially, he came close enough that it was just like, I think I'm gonna go ahead and throw that in the he killed him column. So let's see. Other people that have killed Spider-Man. Thanos has killed Spider-Man. I believe in the Infinity Gauntlet saga. Don't know that counts too much, but it definitely counted in Infinity War, Spider-Man was not in the wave of people that were killed off when Thanos first used the Infinity Gauntlet to destroy half of all life. He was one of the survivors. But he got killed in the battle. And then, of course, Nebula got the gauntlet and undid everything that Thanos had done. So, but it's still, I mean, it kind of counts. Kind of. I don't know. The only other person that I can think of offhand that has actually killed Spider-Man, Dr. Octopus. Otto Octavius has killed Spider-Man. He did it in the story Dying Wish, and the end of Dying Wish was Amazing Spider-Man number 700. And he essentially switched Peter's consciousness into his body, his decrepit body that was dying, and he got Peter's body. And it was at the end of that story that Peter died in Doc Ock's body, and then Peter or Doc Ock in Peter's body became the superior Spider-Man. And yeah, that, as far as I'm concerned, that counts. So um, that's all of who I can think of that has killed Spider-Man. If there's anyone else, let me know, because nothing else is coming to mind immediately. All right. What software do you use? You know what? Here, I'm gonna switch. When I switch questions, I'll switch cameras. That was not the way to do it. Okay. All right. So, what software do you use to edit your video thumbnails? I actually use a software called Canva. It's on canva.com, and you can go and sign up for free. I use the free version. And yeah, I use that. It's a really fairly versatile tool for making thumbnails. I used to use it to make Twitch panels. I've used it to make my YouTube channel banner. And I use it for a number of things. I use it at work too. So it's very versatile for making graphics and flyers and just kind of digital items. So definitely worth checking out if you haven't already taken a look at. I know that there are probably better products out there, but they charge money. And right now I'm not making money with my YouTube channel, and I don't really. I mean, like, maybe someday I will. It's not really the huge focus. Right now I'm just trying to build a community. So, but yeah, Canva is very good for making thumbnails. All right, let's see. And then Diablo is asking, without a spoiler, could the Eternals have actually fought Thanos if they wanted to? Again, no spoilers. Okay, so without spoiling it, um I don't have a good answer for you. In the comics, Thanos is a he's a deviant. Like, he's got like I think he's got like the deviant gene or something. I can't remember if he's like half eternal and half deviant or something like that. I can't remember. What I can tell you is that Thanos, the way that Thanos looks, at least in the comics, it's established that it's because of the deviant half of his lineage, basically. Um, Now, it's been established in the TV spots and promotional materials, like the trailers and stuff, that the Eternals were forbidden from interfering in human affairs because unless deviants were involved. That came from the Celestials themselves. Like, basically, you get involved without the deviants being involved, we're gonna kill you. Was basically how that worked. Um, it's not made clear. Like, essentially, I mean, we know that the Eternals didn't get involved. If you've watched all of the MCU movies, you know that they didn't get involved. So it may be that Thanos in the MCU is not considered to be half deviant, because I would think if he were half deviant, then that would have given them the excuse that they needed to get involved. Now, it's also possible because some of the Eternals living on Earth as long as they have, they develop an attachment to humans. And they do get involved, at least in small ways. And I don't want to go into those because that would be a spoiler. But yeah, I don't have a clear-cut answer for that question actually. It just seems that they didn't, and these are the reasons that they couldn't get involved, so it doesn't match up. I just don't have a clear answer for you there. Am I still watching the Clone Wars? Actually, hold on, I'm gonna switch cameras. You still watching the Clone Wars, or have you put a pin in that? I I haven't watched Clone Wars in a while. I need to watch Clone Wars, and I plan to at some point, and I don't know when. So, but I will. I like it. I think I'm like only on the second season right now, and I've enjoyed what I've watched. So I definitely will continue to watch it. I just don't know when I'm going to get back into it. But I definitely want to see more because Ahsoka is going to be a thing, and I really want to be caught up by the time we get to that. So I want to watch the Clone Wars and I want to watch Rebels and all that stuff. Just not there yet. So, all right. But anyways, so you guys got any other questions? I'm happy to answer. So, but I really I it's kind of like um I don't know. Like Hail to the Geeks, you know that I work full time, which and I'm very happy with my job. I love it very much. But the free time that I do have after that, I put into my YouTube channel. I put into, recording videos and editing and learning how to YouTube better than I currently do and everything like that. And so it cuts into my gaming time. It cuts into my my television watching time. And so right now I'm kind of just in one of those places where like I might just have to catch the occasional episode, and do it that way. I'm not allowed to quit. Okay, I won't. I won't. I promise. All right. Shang-Chi, how does his power scale against Thanos? Let me go ahead and switch cameras. How does Shang-Chi's power scale against Thanos? I don't know. I would imagine because of what Wong said at the end of Shang-Chi, I would imagine that the 10 rings would put him on par with Thanos as long as Thanos didn't have the Infinity Stones. Okay? Because if you have the Infinity Stones, it's game over, basically. Like, you're fighting the most powerful thing in the MCU. But given that, you know, the Wizard's Codex had no idea what the Ten Rings were, given that the kind of power signature that it emitted was something they had never seen before, and that they just didn't have any idea how it functioned. And then given the fact that Shang-Chi was able to just like fight off the kinds of things that he fought off once he got control of them, I think those things are pretty dang powerful. And they definitely operate differently than the rings do in the comics. So I'm really interested to learn more about them. But as you guys can see, it's probably going to be a while before we get to that point. So I'm really eager to see what the MCU, what their take on the Ten Rings is going to be. All right, guys. Any other questions? Final chance here. We've been recording, or we've been streaming for over 2 hours at this point. So the intent is to get the show down to about an hour and a half. So hopefully, as we continue, I will get better at this, and we will be done by 10 o'clock on Sunday nights. So I I do apologize for that. I'll get better as we go, I hope. So anyways, if you guys don't have any further questions, which thank you guys for asking the ones that you did. I don't know if you saw in the thumbnail. I know that Hail to the Geeks noticed this. But last week, Hail to the Geeks asked me a question about Neapolitan ice cream sandwiches, and so I put one up in the Q&A section of the thumbnail. So I'll take a look at these questions again and see if I could put anything fun in the thumbnail for the next episode. So, and to go ahead and start wrapping up, I want to let you guys know that Sunday nights at 8:30 are going to be where the Spidey Librarian Action Hour is going to live for the time being. So I'm planning my shows around that day and time now. So if you guys want to go ahead and I don't know, schedule it, put it in your Google Calendar, whatever you want to do, that's great. Tell your friends if you think I'm their flavor of geek. Let them know. Tell them, hey, go check this guy out. He thinks he knows what he's doing. you know, if you have any friends that are interested in Spider-Man or just pop culture fandom in general, or if you have any friends who want to meet an actual reference librarian on YouTube, just let them know, and that'd be great. Also, as you guys know, I like to take certain segments from the show and make them into videos. So when I do that, it's always helpful if you guys can watch the videos all the way through if you can. That helps my viewer retention rate. Do the if you guys have any comments or questions about them, like drop them in there. The engagement really helps, and I just want you guys to know that you guys being here tonight is another form of engagement, one that I really appreciate, because it means you're taking your Sunday night and you're going, I'm gonna spend it with this guy. And that is one of the best compliments that I could get as a content creator. So I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys for being here. Next week's episode will be Sunday, 8:30 p.m. And I will see you guys then. I will hopefully have a thumbnail out by the middle of the week, and that'll let you guys know what we'll be covering. And hopefully, once I get once I get my shows planned out through the end of the year, I can design another graphic where you guys can see what I'll be doing in subsequent episodes. So, in any case, thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight. It means the world. And I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up here. So, this is Spidey Librarian. And until my next stream, I'll be wishing you guys a good rest of the evening. Oh, and I will be doing a couple of game streams at some point this week, probably on... No, I'll probably be doing them on my Twitch channel. Although come the end of the year, I think all my streams are going to move to YouTube, so you guys can look forward to that. So if you don't follow me on Twitch, go ahead and do that if you want to see me playing games. I'm gonna try to play Ghostbusters, the video game. I want to try to complete it before I go and see Afterlife. I don't know if I'm gonna do that, but that's one of my goals. So we'll see if I have the time to do it. I don't know. I've got a lot going on, but in the meantime, you guys take care. Have a good rest of the evening. This is Spidey Librarian signing off. Good night.